Hi, what's up guys, it's Evan here. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to solve the 4x4. So before we hop into this tutorial, I just want to teach you some notations, and you also need to learn how to solve the 3x3 before learning the 4x4. So let's start with notation. So you know notation on a 3x3. This move is R, this is R prime, this is L, L prime, this is U, U prime, this is D, D prime, this move is F, F prime, and then B, B prime. And there's also another type of move on the 4x4, which is W moves. So what a W move is basically moving two layers at once, just like this. So for example, this is RW because it's on the right side, like the 3x3. So like this is R, and this would be RW on a 4x4 because you would add the W if you were moving two layers, like two pieces. So this is RW, and this is RW prime. Now let's try on the left side. This is LW, this is LW prime. This is UW, this is UW prime. This is DW, DW prime. FW, FW prime. BW prime. I'm at BW, and this is BW prime. Normally, when I talk about notations, I will just do I sometimes just call it like normally on a 3x3. Like if I was doing BW, I would be RW. I would just say like R, for example, because it's like the same kind of move, but you're moving two layers. So now off camera, I'm gonna scramble this cube, and we're gonna hop into the first step of solving it. Alright, so I got this cube all scrambled up. So the first thing you want to do is solve centers. So like on a 3x3, you would normally see that the color in the middle is a centerpiece, and it tells you what side of the cube it is. But the thing is about a 4x4, and any cube higher than that, you have to fill in centers first. So as you all know on a 3x3, yellow is the opposite of white, green is the opposite of blue, and red is opposite of orange. So as you guys know that, so first thing you want to do is create a 2x1 bar. So like something like this. This is something you want to do. So you want to look at two centerpieces. These four pieces, like I'm touching, those are the centerpieces, and that's what you will use to create your centers. So let's look at one like centerpiece. There's one here, so this is in the middle 4. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. Let's start with the bar using the easiest pieces. Like, let's look at this piece. Here's one on the top left corner of the center. Here's one on the bottom left corner of the center. Like I said, you want to create some 2x1 bars. So if you want to create a bar like here, if this piece will connect to here, so I can just move this piece down. And now you have created one of your 2x1 bars. So now let's do it with the other pieces. So here's one of the other pieces, and here's the other one. So if this piece is on the bottom left, I need to move this piece. So say it's like right here, I would need to move it here if I want to create that bar. So I would just move that piece over, move it down with it, and now I have my 2x1 bar. So now I can just move them together, and now you have the white center done. This is kind of like a learning experience. Like if you don't know how to solve centers, like I highly suggest like trying to like learn it for yourself. Just practice creating the bars and connecting pieces. And yeah, so now the next center you want to do is yellow. So if you know white is opposite of yellow, and by the way, it doesn't matter which side you do it on as long as you have the center, but like once you have one center done, you can have like a 3x3 next to you if you're struggling. So like I said, if you're struggling, have like a 3x3 next to you so you know where the centers need to go. So if I have like white, and now I need to put yellow on the opposite side. So if I have white here, I need to put yellow up here. But the thing is, there's a little trick with yellow. So say like I'm going to create a 2x1 bar. So there's like one piece up here and a piece right here. So I can just move this piece over and now move it up. But look, this creates a problem. Our white center is now ruined. So what you can do is just move the piece out of the way and move this piece back down. You have your center fixed, and now you have your 2x1 bar, one of them done. So now let's look where the other two pieces are. So there's one piece here and one piece here. So I can just move this piece over and move it down, and now you've created your 2x1 bar. So now if you want, you can just move it up like this. But no, you actually can't, because you will ruin your center. So something you can do to fix this is actually put the two bars vertically to each other. So one bar on the right, two bar on the right. So you want to have something like this, and now you can just do an RW move, do a U2 move, and then do an R prime move. And now you have your yellow center and white center done. Now it's time to solve the 4 middle centers. So what you want to do so the order I go with the centers is red, green, orange, and then blue. But what's cool is that once you solve the 4 out of the 6 centers, the last 2 centers you solve will solve at the same time. You'll see what I mean when we get there. But when you solve the red center, you can just solve it anywhere on these 4 middle layers as long as you get the bars. So let's see what centerpieces we have on the red. So we have one piece here, we have one piece here, and a bar here. So we can just let this go. And if this piece is down here, I can just move this piece over, move it down, and connect it. This brings our bar over, so I can just move this piece over, and now move it up. And now you will have your red center done. Now let's move on to green. You have to do it in either this spot or this spot. You can't do it across some red, because as you know on red is across some orange on a 3x3. So let's look at the green pieces we have. So we have a bar here and a bar here. So let's say, for example, we have like if you have a case where you have one piece on each side, just move this piece down, create your bar, and then if your center is ruined, just move this piece out of the way and move that same piece back up. So you cannot do the vertical thing I was talking about with the first 2 centers. So what you can do if you want to get this bar down, move this piece over, move this piece down. It does ruin our centers, so that's okay. Move this bar out of the way, and your centers are fixed. So now you want to do the vertical thing I was talking about. So you want to put both the bars on the right side of your centers. So like over here, for example. Now you want to do those moves. So you want to do an R move, RW move, U2, RW prime. And now your red and green centers are done. Now the next center you want to do is orange. So now let's see what we have. You might end up with a few different cases on here. But in my case, I have 3 oranges here and 1 up here. If you have a checker pattern, just move the pieces around. You'll eventually create a bar. So if you have this case where you have 3 pieces in an L shape, put it something like this and put the missing corner on the top right. And now what you want to do is you want to move this bar away. So if I move this piece over here, I'd lose this piece. So if you want to move the bar out of the way and create the center, match this piece next. Look at this piece and see where it needs to go. So if it's this is on the bottom right, and now I need to move this piece to the bottom left to match it up. So if I move it on the bottom left, I can just move this down. I still have my bar, so I can just, even though our centers are ruined, so I can just move this over and move this left piece back up. And now you have all of your centers completed on the 4x4. So now next step is solve edge pairs. If you don't know what edge pairing is, it's basically having 2 edges, something like this, and moving them together, moving them to the top, and then cutting the center and replacing it again. So I'll show you what an example of what that is like. So I probably suggest watching this first before you do it. So pick any edge pair you'd like. I normally like to start with white white edge pairs. If you don't know what edge pairs on a 3x3, they're these pieces that have 2 colors on them. So for example, this piece is red and blue. That is an edge pair. Corner pieces normally have 3 colors on them. And there's 8 of these on a Rubik's Cube. There's white, red, and blue. That is a corner piece. You're not going to solve the corner piece. You're going to solve the edge pieces. So let's pick a piece that we want to solve. So let's look at this piece. White and blue. There's at least 2 of the same pieces on a 4x4. So let's look for the other white and blue piece. So it's right here. You want to put it on the same face, or the same side. So you can connect it together. But if you want to move it over, that will not work because the piece is on the bottom. So I can just move this piece over and move this back up. And now you have your edge pairs and you can connect them. But there's a catch. If you have 2 edge pairs that are straight across from each other like this on the same face, you want to do this simple algorithm to fix that. You're going to do this algorithm to fix it. You're going to do R, F prime, U, R prime, F. And now the centers, edge pieces are diagonally to each other. That's what you want when solving edges. Now you can just move this piece over. And now you have your edge pair completed. So now what you do next is move it to the top layer. It doesn't matter which one, but it depends on which layer the cube piece is on. So you just look for a broken pair. If you don't know what broken pairs are for edge pairing, it's basically when 2 edge pairs do not match. So say, for example, I have orange and white. That's a match. That's a match you want. I have orange, yellow, and green. That is not a match. This is white and red. That is a complete match. So you can just, if I want to move this piece up, I need to replace one of these broken pairs so I can solve one of the side full of edges. So I can just move this piece over since this doesn't match. So I can move that over, move this piece back up, replace it with a broken pair like this one because they do not match. And now move the piece down and you can fix your centers. So that's one edge pair. So like once you know how to do this, you can just do this repeatedly. So now let's look at another edge pair we want to solve. So let's look at this. We have white and green. And so now you want to look for the other white and green piece, and it is over here. So you want to get it onto the same face like I already said. So I can just move this bottom piece over and then do a simple F move. It's not an algorithm, but it's just some moves I'm leading towards this. So now the pieces are already diagonally to each other. So now I can just move this over. But look, if I just move it up and replace it, there is actually nothing to replace. So what you do instead is actually replace one of the solved edge pairs. So put one of the solved pairs in front, like over here. Move this piece up. Replace the broken pair, so put the broken pair here. Move the piece back down and fix your centers. And now you have all 4 edge pairs on one side completely solved. So if you have something like this and your all 4 edge pieces are solved, just flip over the cube to the other side and see what you have. So let's look at another edge piece we want to solve. So let's look at this one. It doesn't matter which order you go. I like to go with white and then yellow and then red if I have to. But you don't have to go in that order. You can just pick whatever pieces you want to kind of limit time. Like if you don't want to take so long on this cube. Trying to find pieces that are close together to each other that you can solve. So let's look at this. We have green and orange. So we want to look for the other green and orange piece, and it's right here. So I can just move this piece over and back down. So now they're on the same face. What I mean by face, if you haven't heard it, you want to put the edge pair on either these 2 sides of the pieces. So now you can just move this piece over, replace one of the broken pairs. Like this is a match or not a broken pair because the edges are solved. This is not because neither of the colors match, so I'm just going to put this in front, move that up, move it over, replace it with a broken pair, move it down, and then fix the centers. So now, let's look for another edge piece. So we have yellow and blue. So let's look around the cube for that yellow and blue piece. And it's right here. So I can just move this over, and now it's on the same face. But the problem is, you need to get it on one of these 2 spots. Since already one is on this side, I need to get it on this side. So I can just move this piece over, move this up, and now you have your edge pairs ready to be done. So now I can just move this piece over, replace it with a broken pair. Like, if you have, like, one match, and you need to have, like, 2 matches like this. Blue, blue, orange, orange. This is green, red, red, yellow. That's not a match. This is not a match either. That makes it a broken pair. So I can just move this piece up, move that over, replace it with a broken pair or non-matching pair, move that down, and then fix the centers. So now, let's look for another piece. So let's look at this one. Yellow and orange. So let's look around for the cube, and it is over here. So I'm just going to put it onto the same face. Remember, I need to get it in one of these 2 spots. It doesn't matter. If it's on the right side, you need to get it in one of these 2 spots. Like, it doesn't matter which side you do it on, but you just need to get it into the appropriate spot in order for it to work. So I can just move this piece down, and now they are across from each other, and they're kind of flipped. They're not really flipped, but they're just across from each other. If you have the case like this, you're going to repeat the same algorithm I taught you. But wait first. Check and see if you have any edge pairs. If you have all 4 done on your cube, flip the cube back over. And you might have around like none left. If you have none left, look around the other cubes, look around like the other sides, and just move it around until you find some broken pairs like this. So if you have a pair of 3, remember what I taught you. So if you have 2 pieces that are across from each other, you want to repeat the same algorithm I taught you. R, F prime, U, R prime, F. It will not ruin your centers. And also, I did not tell you this, but with the centers, when you're doing like the middle 4 centers, have the white and yellow facing to the sides. I should have addressed that earlier. I'm sorry, but now you know. So let's look and see how many edge pairs we have completed. This is green, green, orange, orange. That is like 2 matches, which makes 1 edge pair complete. This is white, white, red, red. That is a match because it has 2 matches and it's a complete edge pair. This is orange, orange, white, white. That is a complete edge pair. This is yellow, green, and red, yellow. That is not a match. So I can just move this piece over like normal. Remember what I said. Do not move it in like this. If you have 3 edge pairs done out of 4, replace one of these solved edge pairs like these. Move this piece up. Replace the broken pair, like put it in its slot. Move the piece down. And now fix your centers. And now you have your 4 edge pairs solved. If you have it on both sides, look how many broken pairs you have left. I have 3 left, as you can see. So now let's look at another edge pair. So if you have if I have like less than like 4 left, find the broken pairs and now solve it from that angle. So like say I can't do any more on these 2 sides. Find a broken pair and do it from there. So like I found a broken pair here and I have 2 pairs here, so I can just move this over and not pretend like I'm solving it normally. So now let's look at another edge pair we can solve. I have green red and then red green. So if you might have some that are already in place, but you might have just had to move it down, that's okay if you need to fix that. But now I can just move this over. Since I have 3 done, as you can see, I have to replace one of the solved pieces, move this up, replace with a broken pair, move this down, and move this back over. And now check and see if you have all the edges done. You might have 2 left. I'm sorry I can't show you that case, but I will show the algorithm down below in the description. So if you have, so I'm just going to explain. If you have 2 edge pairs left and they're diagonal to each other, repeat the same algorithm I taught you, but if the pieces have to be diagonal to each other, 2 edge pairs, like on the same side. Like if that's what, so it's like the same algorithm I taught you with 2 edge pairs being straight across from each other. And there's another case where you have 2 edge pairs straight across from each other. And if you have that case, do the algorithm but add a DW move. So do like DW, R, F prime, U, R prime, F, and then DW prime to fix the centers. And then that you will have all the pieces solved. But with the diagonal case, you just have to do the same algorithm like with the straight across. R, F prime, U, R prime, F. I will still put those algorithms in the description, but now since you have all your edges done, you have completely narrowed the cube down into a 3x3. So you can literally solve this however you like. There's nothing really I need to teach, but there are some cases in the future where I will show you. So I'm gonna mess with this around, and then I'll show you the future cases. So you might have something called parity, which I will show you in just a moment once I get all of these pieces solved. You can use beginner's method, and it does not matter what you use, but I do want to show you a case really quick. But if you do have a case where you're sliding pieces in and they're flipped, what you do is flip the centers around. So, like, say I'm trying to pair something, and it's not working. It's flipped, even though they're on the right centers. So what you can do to fix this is look at the 2 centers you're flipping. You want to do this to all 4 centers and have the white and yellow facing to the side. And now you want to do R, W, U, R prime, R, U, R prime, and then L prime, U prime, L, L prime, U, L. And now you have flipped these 2 centers around, but you still need to flip the other 2 centers you haven't done because these 2 are not across from each other like on a 3x3. You know that red is across from orange, but they're next to each other. So have the 2 centers you did not flip yet, so like orange and green, do the same algorithm I told you. So RW, U, RW prime, RW, U, RW prime, LW prime, U prime, LW, LW prime, U prime, L. Now you have all your centers flipped back together. Remember, you want to put the centers in this case. You want to have it go red, green, orange, blue. So you want to just make sure you have it in that sequence. That is one of the cases you can run into when trying to solve a cube like this. So now now you can just solve the cube freely, but there are some other cases in the future where I will show you just momentarily. So, yeah. And by the way, if you have any other questions, please let me know down below in the comment section. Like if I ever see some like hard breaks or something, I will just edit that out. Don't you worry. Okay, so actually, the one thing I wanted to show you is you can actually run into something when you have all like your middle layer solved. You might run into something called parity. If you guys don't know what parity is, you can't really get it on a 3x3, but you can get it on a cube like the 4x4. Any higher cube than this, you can get parity. This is like one of the examples. So like a parity is like an impossible case that you cannot solve using the algorithms you normally use for other cases. So it's like, this is like an impossible case, so you just use an algorithm to get rid of that case. So there's many different parity cases you can run into. Like, for example, this one where you have just 6 pieces in the middle, just all yellow. You might have yellow pieces going down both sides, and then just make them like a football upright symbol. You might have like 4 pieces are crossed done, and these 2 pieces like flipped. You can see like all around the cube, these pieces are all flipped. If you have a case like this, and like if you're looking at the cube and you have pieces like flipped, just like this, like if it's like a case you do not know at all, that means you have parity. So like there are a lot of different parity cases, so you just use the parity algorithm. So the parity algorithm goes, this is pretty long, but I'm going to just go slow with you guys on this. But I want to do it quick because, but if you have a hard time with this algorithm, it'll take some getting used to, but you'll get it in the future. The algorithm goes R, B2, U2, L, U2, R prime, U2, R, U2, F2, R, F2, L prime, B2, R2. I almost thought I messed up, but once you do that algorithm, I will put all the algorithms down below in the description. So now, once you solve parity, you will get like a normal case like you would on the 3x3. Okay, so the first case you're going to see when solving PLO is having 2 solved sides next to each other, across from each other, like this. So if you have a case like this where you have 2 solved sides across from each other, just have the cube in front of you, and you want to do this algorithm. R2, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R prime. And now you'll get a new case where you have 2 solved sides next to each other. This is the next case you want to get. So you want to have one of the solved sides facing to the right and one of them facing in front of you. And if you have this case, you want to do this algorithm. U2 or UW2. So I'm going to just say the W just for the heck of it. UW2, RW2, U2, lowercase r2. If you don't know what that means, you're moving this inner piece, the one I'm touching. So lowercase r2, u2, rw2, and then uw2. And now you'll have one side solved, so you can just finish solving the cube, and then your 4x4 will eventually be solved. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave a like down below and subscribe, and leave a comment on some other videos you'd like to see me do. And I will catch you guys soon. Bye.